Hi guys, welcome back to my channel Mock School. I have recently changed the channel name to Mock School due to my new micro startup called mockschool.com, where I take mock interviews of QA aspirants aiming for Fang and other product-based companies. In the short duration of 2 months, I've already taken 10 plus mock interviews. Eight out of those 10 candidates have cleared Amazon interviews. One has cleared Google, and the last one cleared the other startup interview. So if you also want to prepare with me, please visit mockschool.com. Now coming to this video, so the agenda for today's video is talking about Amazon leadership principle and primarily the customer obsession one. A lot of channel viewers have requested me to create video on Amazon leadership principle, so I thought of creating one. So this leadership interview series would be a collection of 6 to 7 videos, each topic talking about a specific leadership principle. Now, for these leadership videos, I thought of changing the format. Instead of me giving you Gyan in this video, I would actually play an audio clip from one of my recent mock interview where I covered customer obsession principle. This will give you the visibility on how a typical interview answer looks like, and then what are the usual gaps in the answer which should be fixed. So I've taken the audio snippet from in between the mock interview which I took, which I'll be playing next. There is some background noise in that mock interview, so please bear with me. So the question which I asked the candidate was, tell me about a time when you did something outside of your regular work, or tell me about a time when you went over and above to solve any customer issue. Okay, so here is the candidate answer followed by the detailed feedback which I shared with the candidate.
Now I can give the answer. I mean, I just thought of it when I was working on one of the projects. So I did not get much chance or much exposure. So every time, what I was doing was every time I was working, there was a team event, and I thought of volunteering for team event. When I say volunteering, it means I wanted to plan this team event. The reason I wanted to do was, as I said, that I was continuously working, and there were no extracurricular activity which I was doing, which would might help me to have more exposure and help to bond with other people as well. So I thought of taking up that action. So I went up to the manager, saying that I want to volunteer for the team event. Which I had for MDocs, yes, for MDocs for my team. So he was very happy because in the 5 years of duration, 4 years of duration in MDocs, I never done this kind of thing, and I was quite nervous because I have never done this kind of thing ever in my life. So when I volunteered it, there were some points which I've noted, that which place to go, how many people would be there, what budget would we have, and everything. There was a situation when I was planning. So we were around 40 people in the team, and we thought of contributing around 2,000 per person, and it was around 80,000. I had booked a resort. It was not a resort; it was the dinner place at a particular resort. So there were lots of activities, lots of things going on. I had asked my team members also at that particular time whether they have any kind of requirement, certain requirements, so that I can just add it up and have it in the team events, like games or maybe some other particular games or something like that. When I sent it to the manager for the team event, he gave me and replied me a budget of around 95,000 rupees, but the budget what we had collected and was around 80,000. Now he was having another team event. I mean, there was another company who was calling at the same time, and I had around only 10 minutes to find out whether I should continue with this particular place, or should I continue with some other place. So I just sent the mail, and as soon as I got the response, I mean, I've sent it with high importance, and saying that the budget was 80,000, but now it has increased to more 15,000. Should we continue with this? or not. So there were around 27 replies I got with yes, but still there were 13 replies. But I thought of taking a bit of risk here. I thought of going with the increment, and I replied with saying to the team event manager, saying that I would be continuing with 95,000 as this. And so I took a risk of extra 15,000, but then later I found that the whole team was comfortable, the whole team was happy. There were no complaints saying that this was missing or that was missing. So it was worth taking those risk of having those 15,000. Now in this I took an ownership. I volunteered for something which I've never done before. Second, there was some kind of issues which had happened during this particular process, but by taking a bit of risk I was able to solve it. Third, many of people have come and appreciated me. There were many people with whom I have work. I mean, I never had worked. I was just seeing them in the office, but then I started interacting with them. So my relation with the team also had increased. So yeah, this was the event I can think of.
Okay. Um, so two things on this. First is primarily uh, interviewer is expecting you to tell something on the work front.
Okay.
On,
Okay.
okay, something in terms of suppose there was a parallel project which was going on, which was being done by some other QA, but you saw the risk for that project, you stepped in, you helped in XYZ way, and you were
Okay.
able to pull back on the timelines or do something. Or it could be any other XYZ thing. Think
Okay.
about it. In your 8 years of experience, you would have helped someone else, or you might have come up with certain tool which you thought of using, and then it provided proved to be helpful, which was otherwise not expected from you. So for this
Got it.
question, we are actually looking for something related to work. Uh, it, it, the
Got
example
it.
basically demonstrates ownership. There is no doubt about that. And in some case, that might go well with the HM as well. It goes like it depends on HM to HM or
Hmm.
bar user. But I don't want to give you any feedback where there is chances of risk. Okay.
Correct. Correct.
So that's why I try to base your answers pertaining to work only.
Hmm.
This particular answer can work as a filler where if by chance a question comes like, apart from work, have you done anything else in the company?
Hmm. Hmm.
Something around that. Apart from
Hmm.
work, if anyone asks something, this can be a good example where you volunteered for something and then delivered it,
Hmm. Hmm.
uh, highlighting that what were the risks. So,
Yes.
for this particular question, try to identify something from your work.
Hmm. Okay.
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 Uh,
Yes.
I do see that you get the point around quantifying the impact, like how you were summarizing that, how it helped you to build connection, you got great feedback. And now,
Yes.
you were quantifying, you tie it back to your work,
Hmm.
right?
Okay.
Suppose when you say that I went out of my way and then helped someone to achieve something,
Hmm.
now you help company in some way to pull back the timelines, and then that improved the credibility. So how it helped me that going forward, manager was able to trust me with a bigger responsibility in terms of giving me a much more complex projects rather than having me on smaller items. Right.
Got it.
So whatever conclusion you make out of any scenario, tie
Hmm.
it back to your work.
Got
That
it.
will help you. Leaving it open that yeah, I was able to help that person and then that thing got delivered on time. Then
Hmm.
it's plain. Okay, fine. You help them. You are expected of that, right? There are 10
Hmm.
more people who are doing that thing. Right? Why should
Correct.
I help you for this? So then show that how it helped you in turn, that it increased manager satisfaction or it increased manager confidence on me. I was able
Hmm.
to take a more complex project. So tie it back to
Yes.
your work and give examples specific to your work.
Got it. Okay. I can think of one scenario. I mean, I have one scenario. Should I tell, or I mean,
Yeah, go ahead, go ahead.
okay. So recently, what happened? I was moved to some other project. It was the US based project. So I was working and finding out the areas where I could, start with the project. So it was as US project. I had to work a bit late at night to have that matching with the US people. So one day I was waiting. It was around 8 p.m. in the evening. It was 8 p.m. and I was about to leave. I have seen that there are three new freshers who had joined recently in our companies. They were waiting. And they were working. So I thought that, though it is late at night, but it does happen that they're fresher and they have some kind of enthusiasm and passion towards work. So they might be waiting and working on some things. But for 2 days, because I was matching up with US time and I had some work to do with them, some insights I want with them from them. I was waiting for 2 more days, and I have seen that those three candidates were still sitting and were working on them. It happened continuously 3 days in a row, and on the fourth day, I saw that they were a bit of tense. So I thought of just asking them that what exactly the scenario was. I also remember their team lead was my friend, and she was on leave for a week. So I just thought of going towards them and asking them what exactly the situation and why they were concerned. Just about when I was about to ask them, our manager had come, and he asked me, when he saw me that I was talking to them, he immediately called me in his office. I went to him and saw a bit. He was a bit of tensed. I didn't understand what the situation was. When I asked him, he said that there was some delivery which we need to do, and we have freshers here, we don't have any other team members. Also Anita, who was the lead for them, was also not there in the office. So he asked me to complete that particular task. The reason was that I was already a part of that team earlier, and I knew the insights of how the project was working. So he asked me to complete that task maybe in 2 days, because the three freshers, they were not having much idea about it, and they were not able to complete that task. Now I got the insight that why they were concerned and why they were not able to do it. I was like, okay, fine, and then I went back to the three members and asked their concern, that what exactly was happening. So they said that they were trying to write the test cases, they were trying to execute it, but somehow they did not feel a proper connection between the endpoints, and they were not able to proceed it. I asked them to leave for the day and then come the next day as early as possible. So around 8:30, you can come to the office. This is what I have told them. Next day, and I asked them what is the requirement, so that I just prepare myself with what exactly the scenarios were. Next day, I went to the office at 8:30 a.m. and I booked a meeting room and discussed with them that what exactly the scenario was. They said that they were not understanding how this particular project is working. They did not know the insights of it. Though they got the KT, but they did not maybe ask the questions, they were not clear with it. So I asked them to write the test cases, and when they started writing the test cases, I noticed one point, that they were not interacting with each other. So all the three candidate resources were writing their individual test cases. So the first thing I told them, that whenever we have this kind of a scenario, we have to interact with each other. And that's when I said that when you get an epic, when you get a requirement, it is very important that you not only interact with each other, but you interact with the other stakeholders, like their product owners and architects in the team. They got that point. They wrote some of the scenarios, and by 10:15, we had the product owner in the office. I asked them to have a quick meeting with them. I gave them a bit of background scenario, that how the project works, realizing that there were not a proper KT given, maybe, or second, they did not attend those KTs properly. Now by 10:15, they had a meeting with product owners. They got a clarification that how the things has to be. And surprisingly, by when they started working on the environment, though there were some ups and downs, and they came to me asking about the solution, or maybe what kind of maybe username and password they have to use. So by around 5:30, we were able to complete at least the critical or the priority zero flows. And back in, my manager did not know that they were executing this test case. He was under an impression that I am executing the test case. So by 5:30, he had called me in the office and asked me about the status of the test case. I told that I am not executing those test cases, and he was furious to listen that if I had given a task, I should have completed it. But at that time, what I thought, that I had volunteered in a different way. I had not volunteered myself doing that particular task, but mentoring my three other members who would do that particular task. So in this way I had mentored them, I have trained them, they have completed it. Now in the future what would happen that if this kind of scenario comes, all the three members, they might think that okay, there will be some other person who would anyways do the work, so they would be under that impression. But me having that kind of KT to them, or that kind of mentorship to them, had helped them a bit different, and I know that they were passionate towards work, and that was the reason they were sitting there continuously for 3 days working till 8 p.m., 9 p.m. So in this way, I would have got an appreciation for that, for those execution of those scenarios. But in this way I got a good bond with these three peoples, where three people where I have earned a trust, I got a bond, and a bond with them. So this is a scenario which I was thinking of.
So the manager who called you up in the cabin is the same. It's the same manager whom you report to.
Yes, he's the same line manager to whom I report to.
Okay. Now, what happens to your deliverables? The work which you were supposed to do, which you could not do because of mental.
So, frankly speaking, it did not affect much. I was not having anything on my plate because I was transferred to a new project, and I was just trying to find the insights from those projects, that how the project were, how what. So we have the dev people and the specialists from the US. So I just wanted to understand that how the project was working. But as it was Thursday night where I was discovering this, and by Friday morning, they have completed this particular task. So I personally did not have to invest any of my time, or anything like that. I mean, it was just an extra efforts towards them. So my work did not hamper as such.
Okay. Uh, if suppose similar situation arise again, what
Hmm.
better you can do this time if a similar situation comes up?
I thought of one point of improvement at that time was I have realized two things. One was that the KT was not given properly. So whenever we have any new members coming up, or there should be a proper recording of how a product works. This help people to understand that how you get. I mean, this would help maybe a technical way. Second, I could think of is that like I said, that I noticed one thing, that there was no communication between two of them, the three of them. So it's better that you communicate with stakeholders, other stakeholders, and then you will be able to, find the answers. You'll get more insights of it. So if I have to improve, maybe as soon as we have a new member coming in the team, or joining the office, we should have proper communication towards that how we work, how the project works, and how we should work. I think that would have helped them as well, I think.
Okay. Suppose if you are tasked to do this improvement, what steps you will take in order to address these two things?
Task of improvements as such. I mean,
For
I
to have freshers better communicate amongst each other, and to have
hmm.
much better onboarding to the product there so that they understand the technical piece. What are those two new process changes or changes you would like to introduce right away to bridge or to address these two points?
uh, Actually, I'm sorry, but I still didn't understand the
That
question.
they were not communicating with each other,
Huh.
right? If you
Yes.
are a manager,
Hmm.
what steps you would take to make sure that any new incoming joinees, when they start working, they connect with each other? What would
Okay.
you?
Yes, I got it now. Okay. So as a manager, I would say that there should be these team building activities which might help them to work together and communicate with each
We are
other.
in COVID situation, so there is no outside team building activity. So that
Yes.
how what else we can do?
There are, I mean, virtual games we can have. Just, I mean, this is something which is not related to work, but yes, there can be a small virtual meeting. There can be like a video call meeting, just to say that this is how we, I mean, I understand it's a COVID situation, but yeah, we can
There
do
are no
that kind of
games
stuff.
and nothing. You have to come up with something which is related to work,
Hmm.
where you get something done as well as you find a way where they all communicate with each other. Now, what will you do with it?
Um. Okay. maybe sharing one work with two of them. I mean, I remember a scenario where I had two. I mean, so what happened was we had to close these number of defects which we had in the queue, and instead of one person closing it, we made a team of two persons together so that they discuss together and close it. So in this way, if we want to do a task, so we completed the defect closure part also, and we had a team of two members interacting with each other. So I think that would be a great approach. So even if we have to do a work, it would be great that if we do it in team, so that the team is interacting with each other.
Okay.
um,
Okay. So my whole intention of asking this question is whenever you answer any question, be prepared for follow-up questions. Okay, and then the more follow-up questions are being asked, the more confidence you can have that you answered the question correct. Okay, if after your answer there is no follow-up question, most likely it did not went well because the follow-up
okay.
question would be asked if interviewer got some interest in what story you have told about. Right. So
Okay.
first thing is
Okay.
that. Second is, um, considering you have 8 years of experience, be prepared to give answers to questions like this, like how I have asked that if you are leading a team or if you are a manager, then how would you address this particular problem? So interviewer, so alongside you highlighting that what was the problem, interviewer would expect you to answer the solution to it as well. Okay.
Okay.
The solution could be anything. There is no right or wrong. Like as you were saying, there could be a common problem amongst multiple people who work on the same problem. It has its pros and cons. That it might lead to conflicts, or there might be some conflicts around the ownership of each module. The pros could be that they have to connect with each other to understand the flows or things like this. The other answer could be that there could be a buddy program which you can set up where buddy is assigned to those people,
Okay.
where on a weekly basis they all connect, where buddy talks to them, they give their updates, they question each other. So the buddy engages them, okay,
Yes.
amongst themselves as well as with someone else. So there could be a number of answers. There is no one
Hmm.
correct. Okay, so but the whole point I'm trying to make here is whatever answer you are giving or the problem which you are surfacing, that this was the problem and that's how that's how I help solve. Then there'll be a
Hmm.
definite follow-up question that what about your work, right? Like how
Yes.
similarly there would be something else, and as soon as you highlight that, yeah, maybe these are the two learnings, then the follow-up question would be how would you address them?
Hmm. Hmm.
Uh,
Got it.
and if the conversation is going that way, that means you are doing it.
Hmm. Got
Right?
it.
So that's concerned. So otherwise, this example was good, and you can use this example on another leadership principle called earn trust. There's another
Yes.
leadership, right? So where you can double click on the earn trust part and maybe try to find an instance where due to that one helping hand in future they really looked up to you whenever they were stuck, and then
Hmm.
you kind of became a de facto point of contact for those folks, which kind of gave you a sense of satisfaction that I am able to contribute more than just myself. I'm able to
Yes.
train the team. So you can build on that same example
Got it.
on press. So you can use the same example on two things.
So that brings us to the end of the conversation I had around this leadership principle. Make sure to make a note of the feedback points I gave and try to incorporate them in your answers. I'm intentionally not giving these points in written in video description or anywhere in the video because I want you guys to go through the video and understand in what context the feedback was provided rather than using the feedback point by point directly and incorporating them directly into your answer because all these feedbacks are contextual, right? They would change if the if the answer changes. So make sure you go through the complete video and understand why a particular feedback is given, and then accordingly take that feedback and incorporate it in your answer. So I hope it helps you in your preparation. I'll soon upload a new video covering another leadership principle. So stay tuned and do check out my website mockschool.com if you want to prepare. Thank you. Thanks for your time.